So today we're going to take a look at a bizarre pistol round strategy that Akrew were using beforehand in the open qualifier, and it's kind of weird, and it's not a gameplay strategy but more an economic strategy, because if we take a look at the Akrew players here, you can see that Giovanni has bought full utility on the breach, but Zachary has bought nothing. And Neon has bought nothing. And Pancakes and Gucci have only bought a boombot and a flash as well for them. So key bits of utility. But other than that, nothing. And so they are all going into this round with classics and no shields. Okay. And so we're going to show two clips from this Sentinel game. One where this kind of strategy goes about as badly as it can on the pistol round for them. And one where it goes about as well as it can for them. So let's talk about why they do this. And first of all, they only do this on attacking rounds. And that's important because essentially the reason that they do it on attacking rounds is because you each get 300 credits for planting the spike. And there's no way on the defending side to recoup those kind of credits. There's no way of getting that extra credits. And you get 200 for each kill you get. So this pistol round, this first one here, is going to go about as badly as it can go. Because they're not going to get the spike down and they're only going to manage to get one kill as well. It starts with Dapper with a nice little shot there. And yeah, this one is going to go pretty badly. They try to execute onto this site, but it doesn't go well for them. There's the one kill they're going to get. And so they get mopped up quickly enough, and Sentinels manage to win this first pistol round. But if we take a look about what's to happen in their next round, this is their buy next round. And this is why they are doing it, because even if they lose on that pistol round, they then are going to force no matter what. So this is what they have done. And we'll get into the economic, like, you know, what happens if X happens, if you get the spike down, if you don't get the spike down, all of that. We'll talk about that after we've watched these clips. But you can see here on this force, you know, they're going for it. They've got Spectres and full utility with light shields, or a Spectre and a heavy here for Zachary as well. And actually those heavy shields are going to come in pretty big, as we'll see at the end of the round. But they are going to manage to win this round, Akrew. And as I said, they always do this, okay? They save on the attacking pistol rounds, and then they go and force if they lose. No matter what, they will force, and they will make round two a pretty crucial round overall, because obviously whoever wins this round, if Akrew win, they'll be favored to win round three. And if Sentinels win, then, you know, Akrew will be on another save, and, you know, they'll have to save for round four. So they'll be 3-0 down. So it actually doesn't start well for them. They actually lose the first kill, but they are going to manage to trade it back. And as I say, they are going to win this round. If you look at the map, you got Zachary on this nice little lurk. He's about to come in big with that kill there. Tens is able to get one, but then Kampeki's going to die, and Neon's going to be able to kill Tens as well. And then we have Shazam, who was actually saving for an op here. You know, decided not to buy anything for this round. He wanted to buy that op soon enough, but he's now in a situation where he's getting punished for it because he probably didn't expect to be here. And so whilst he is able to get one kill, you'll see he actually does headshot Zachary here, but because he had that false shield, he went down only to 17 health and was able to live and get the final kill. So they managed to win this round, and then obviously go on to win round three as well, and build up their own economy and start going from there. But if we come to Ascent, let's watch a round where it goes about as well as it can for them. So again, you can see here we've got like one bit of key utility for most players. Giovanni again on the KO, the main initiator, he's got full utility, but again Zachary has bought nothing. Neon's just bought one cloudburst. You know, it's very little investment on the whole. So let's take a look at how it goes. And it starts about as badly as it can, actually, because obviously they have such little utility that something like a drone on a pistol round was really important, but the KO ended up suppressing this over anyway. But yeah, as I mentioned, this is actually going to be a round that they managed to win. They sneak through tree, in comes a dart, in comes a flash, they omen flash, they get in onto the site, and they manage to get these kills. They get the first 3 kills, they get onto the site, they get the spike down. As I mentioned, that's 300 credits for them all now as well. And then we have just Shazam and Dapper here trying to do this retake, and they're going to take forever, by the way, trying to do this retake. Just everyone just jumping up at them, as you can see there. Right click with the classics, because that's all they've got. But eventually, after a bit of a while here, they are going to be able to win this round, as they trade out that kill from Dapper, and then eventually they're able to kill Shazam as well. So now let's take a look at what it looks like when they win a round. Because coming into this round, you can see we have 3 Phantoms and full shields. Okay, 3 Phantoms and full shields, and, you know, some utility on this Sova as well. We have 2 Spectres and full shields as well, so a heavy buy. So if this strategy pays off and they get the spike down, you know, they kill everyone, and, you know, they manage to win the round, their economy looks really, really good for this round 2 here, because they're able to have 3 full Phantoms. So what's going to happen in this round, of course, is you would expect, they have Phantoms against pistols. You'd expect it to go pretty well, and it does go pretty well. They start off, it starts off pretty interestingly, actually, because they're going to group up. And I think that this is something that's so obvious that, like, when you play with 3 full Phantoms here, you are definitely going to group up. There is no way you can afford to risk them picking up that Phantom, because that could easily lead to you losing this round. So I would suspect they're pretty much always going to group up in this instance. If anyone with a Phantom or Vandal dies, you make sure that if you're one of the people with a Spectre, you pick it up, which actually happens there. You can see they do have one die, and Neon dies as well, and Giovanni goes back and picks up that Phantom to give them the Phantom for this round. And now they're in a situation where actually this is going to be a pretty even round, because they're going to force back into it. And you could see there that their economy was actually a full buy. Again, they're going to end up with this, where you have 4 Phantoms and an Ares with full shields. Okay, and if we take a look at the charts of how often you are to win that, you're going to see it's pretty good. Because when we look at the stats from rib.gg that they did a while back now, and we look at how often you win rounds with how much you buy, you can see that one of their main takeaways is that on the attacking side, 3 to 4 Vandals, so Phantom or Vandals, is enough. That you don't need more than that to have a pretty good chance of winning a round. And you can see that these almost full buys, where you have 3 or 4 Phantom or Vandals, actually leads to the highest percent win chance. Now, that is probably just a statistical quirk, but it just proves that if you only have 3 or 4 full rifles and full shields, that's really all you need. And so now let's quickly go through the economy if you win, if you lose but do okay, and if you lose and don't do so well as well. So here's the economy if we win. So I've taken the same creds left from that round that we saw on Split, and if you win, you get 3,000. If you plant a spike, you get 300, and you get 200 for each kill. So what I've assumed here, because this will happen in most pistol rounds that you win, you will plant the spike, and you will kill everyone most likely. So what I've done is I've evenly distributed those kills, so everyone gets 1 kill, everyone gets 3,500 creds in that scenario. And if we take a look at what that means you can buy for the second round, is that you have 2 players that can buy Phantom or Vandal plus heavies and some util. You're going to have 2 players who either can go for a Phantom Vandal and heavy and no util, or Bulldog Guardian heavy and full util. And you're going to have the player who bought only down to 100 credits left. They're going to have enough for a Spectre heavy and full util as well. So this is more than enough, as we just saw there, to potentially not just win the second round, of course, you're expecting to win that, but then go on to win that third round as well when both teams have full guns. And then let's take a look at if you lose, but you did get the spike down and some kills. So this is something that we didn't really see in those clips, but in that instance, we'll get 1900 for our first loss bonus, again the spike, and let's say 4 of 5 kills this time for our kills, and that means that everyone will get 2,400 creds, and anyone who didn't get a kill will get 2,200. And that leaves us in a situation like this, where 4 of our players can buy a Spectre plus heavy shields plus some utility as well, and this player here, the person who bought down to 100 again, will buy the Spectre plus lights, and if they didn't use that utility, obviously they'll have some of that left over as well, so this could be full utility as well, depending on how much they use. So yeah, still looking very good to potentially win this second force round from us. We have more than enough firepower here to win that second round. And then this is the disaster scenario like we kind of saw in that first split round, where what happens if we lose, we don't plant the spike, and we don't get even any kills. Well, then we just get the loss bonus here, and we end up in this situation where we'll have Spectre lights, we'll have maybe a couple Spectre heavies with no util. This could be a Spectre light with full util if we want, and then we'll have 2 players with Spectre lights and some util as well. So this is like the doomsday scenario, but as we kind of saw in that split game, it's actually still probably enough to win a round. You can actually still win, particularly if your opponent is taken by surprise. And so let's quickly look at the stats then for Akrew as well. So they only attempted this 12 times, which is unfortunate, because I'd hoped that they'd been doing it forever and I just hadn't noticed, but no, they'd only been doing it for the first open qualifier, so there really isn't a big sample size here. But of those 12 times, they did win 4 pistol rounds that they were in. Obviously, anytime that they lost a pistol round, they decided to force after that. And of their 4 spies, they won half of them. They won 4 of those 8 force spies. Okay, and so you might conclude that, oh, look, 8 out of the 12 times they did it, something good happened, which is kind of true, but I decided to go more in detail and do some flowcharts, right? Because there are 8 possible ways the first 3 rounds in a game of Valorant can go, and for Akrew in these 12 games, only 4 of those 8 possibilities happened, which does make sense, right? Like, if they win the pistol round and they have Phantom and Vandal heavy shields on round 2, they're probably not going to lose, and so those kind of, win-loss things, I mean, it doesn't happen often anyway, but it definitely isn't going to happen with a cruise strategy. So yeah, those things aren't likely to happen. So only 4 different possibilities actually happened. They were win-win-win, which happened a quarter of the time, 3 out of 12. Win-win-loss, which was actually the Sentinels game that happened just the once. When they lose the pistol round but then win the bonus, they're often going to win the 3rd round because it's a save for your opponent. Or you can just lose. If you lose this force buy here, then obviously you're not going to probably win this 3rd round either. So because that will be a save for you. So that happened 4 out of 12 times, a third of the time as well. So let's look though at the likely score before the next 50-50, because I think this is quite important in that if you win these first 3 rounds, your opponent is going to be on a save for that 4th round, and so it's going to be 4-0 to you most likely going into the next 50-50. If you win the first 2 rounds but then lose this one, this next round will probably be a save for you. That's what happened in the Sentinels game, and so it'll probably be 2-2 going into that round 5 where both teams have guns. If you lose but then win both the force and then the next round as well where your opponent's on a save, the next round your opponent will have guns, and you, depending on how it goes, might have bought 3 or so Phantom or Vandals plus heavy shields for this 4th round. If it's gone really well for you and no one has died, well, then you're going to have Spectres and you're likely to lose the 4th round, but your economy will be so big that, it probably offsets that anyway. So likely it'll be 2-1 going into the next 50-50, or you'll have a massive economy advantage. Or if you lose, then it'll be 0-3 when you go into your next 50-50 round, because you would have bought on this one. This will be your save, and so the 4th round you'll be going in for the buy. So if you take the 2 extremes of this scenario, and say, well, when we win, we actually are 4-0 up. But when things go terribly, we're only 3-0 down. We actually have an extra round here to get back into the game. There's a whole extra round that we've kind of gained there, which is quite interesting and kind of one of the benefits of this strategy. So overall, is this strategy worth it? Well, there's a couple key points that we need to take away. One is that Akrew in their game yesterday didn't do it. So I don't know if they've given up on it or not, but they chose not to do it anymore in their games yesterday. And I don't know why that is. Maybe they have decided that it isn't quite worth doing. But to me, if I was in charge of a team, I actually would take a look at this and I would think, this is something that we can pull out every so often. I think a key reason why this isn't a great idea to always do is because your opponents always know that you're going to force on that 2nd round. They always know that that is coming to them. And so you lose that surprise factor that you might have otherwise. But as I said, if you just do this every so often, then you do gain that surprise factor again. And there is some merit in it that you can make that 3rd round a 50-50 round. And if you win that 3rd round, you're going to be 4-0 up and you're going to have a big economy advantage. And, if you take that risk, particularly against maybe a team that you think you might be an underdog, or a team that, you think you need to do something weird against to get in that advantage, this could be a really good way of doing it. And so I don't think that this strategy is dead. I'd be interesting to see if more teams, do maybe lean into this every so often, because I do think there is some merits to it. And if you are feeling a bit risky, maybe it is a good idea.